Hello. I know. I've been missing. I broke my promise already, and I'm just starting this channel. I'm trying not to cry. Somebody had either fell or jumped overboard. Hello. I know. I've been missing. I broke my promise already, and I'm just starting this channel. I promise I have a good reason for it. I took my first cruise via Virgin Voyages. It was awesome. I booked this trip back in March or April of this year in preparation for October, my 29th birthday trip. I usually try to take do something out of town the week of my birthday. Super excited to get on the boat. The crew was awesome. Very helpful, kind, patient. I love to see the diversity in the crew and their different accents. Like, a lot of them were from tons of different places, and I thought it was really cool because the crew matched the population of the passengers being from all different places. The cabin was really nice. It was high tech, and in my opinion, this is my first cruise, and didn't have to worry about cash or anything. Everything was linked to this thing called the band. Something you wore around your wrist. Is how you got on the boat, off the boat, paid for your drinks, got into your room, stuff like that. But I had some good eating. There were places where you could just walk up to and get food. There were burgers and fries and breakfast all day, and mimosas, ice cream, tons of different bars. And then there were restaurants where you could go and sit down. I left out of Miami and we stopped in Key West. I had never been to Key West before. Beautiful city. It's so many historic places and homes. I love learning about history and where people come from. And I forgot that Robert the Doll is located in Key West. If y'all don't know who or what Robert the Doll is, look it up. Chucky is based off of this doll. I usually don't dress up, but I dressed up. Not much of a dancer, but I did dress up and go and watch people with a drink in my hand, and that was fun. Our next stop was Bimini, Bahamas, and within an hour of us, no, maybe within 2 hours of us docking there was an all-call that somebody had either fell or jumped overboard. I would have never thought that I would hear those words, especially on my first cruise. I don't know what happened, but someone fell overboard or jumped overboard. I don't know. I hope they're okay. But Bimini was a great place to visit. They're doing the best they can with what they have, and I just enjoyed the people. They made me laugh, and just seeing how they live. I took the cultural tour while there, so we went through the town, made a couple of stops, and two of my favorite stops. One was a museum that is still being built on by a man named Ashley Saunders. He's been building on this home since 1993. This home, or museum rather, this home or museum has been built on since 1993. Beautiful beaches, the water, even living in Florida, the water there just seemed to have a different life to it. Hola, Miami. Back Sunday and it's now Monday night, and I really wanted to get this video out for you guys. I started reading for this video before I left. I know usually one of the first couple of episodes, or one of, if not the first episode a booktuber does, is a book on, or a video on their favorite books. I tried doing that and I came to realize, like, I had a really hard time forming into words what I thought about some of my favorite books. And I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I'm still going to work on that. Or I might just post a list of my faves. I don't know. I have to figure that out. Banned book week, I think, was last month. So I am late, but I'm on time because this is my channel. Anyway, I'm going to share with you all is a list of books that have been added to one or more lists in my state for different school districts, K through 12 school districts, where the content of the books are being questioned. Every single one of them was good. A few made me cry. All of them made me laugh, which is great. When I picked these out, I didn't know why they were banned. I wanted to first read them and try to figure out if I could tell why they were banned, and then look them up. Okay. First book I read, I think I even posted it on my community tab, before my trip is Nicola Yoon's instructions for dancing. Here is the synopsis on the back. Evie Thompson doesn't believe in love anymore, especially after she witnesses a couple kiss and is overcome with a vision of how their romance began and the exact moment it will end. After all, even the greatest love stories end with a broken heart eventually. As Evie tries to understand her strange new ability, she finds herself at a dance studio learning to waltz, foxtrot, and tango with a boy named X. His philosophy is to say yes to everything, including entering a ballroom dance competition with the girl he's only just met. Falling for X is definitely not what Evie had in mind. If her visions of heartbreak have taught her anything, it's that no one escapes love unscathed. So is it still worth the risk? Yes. Yes, it is. Even though I have never been in a more love with anybody, I've been but I've never been in love. And I still feel like it is worth it. And this read definitely proves that it is. I'm trying not to cry. I had so much in common with the main character, Evie. Her, and I'm trying not to spoil it too much, her parents have been divorced for a couple of months now. Evie, at the beginning of this book, doesn't believe in love anymore. Now, she was an avid reader of romance, like moi. The magic and hope of romance has died, so to speak, within her because her parents have gotten a divorce. You know, if her parents can't make it, there's no guarantee that anyone else will. The love in these romances, these fictional romances, are just that. And she's having a really tough time. She can't forgive her father. She doesn't understand why her mother isn't more upset. And she can't tell her younger sister what she knows because she doesn't want that to ruin her sister's perception or love. So she decides that she's going to get rid of all of her romance books. Like, oh my God, I can't imagine. And while doing that, she meets this older lady that just comes out of nowhere, knows her name, and strikes up a conversation with her as to why she's giving these books away, what's changed, and pretty much forces her to take a book on the instructions for dancing. Now, I don't know, and they never say who this lady is, but I feel like this is a guardian or even possibly an angel that Evie has interacted with. So when stuff like that happens, you know there is some type of lesson that you're meant to learn, right? That Evie is going to learn. We follow Evie as she grows in like with X, Her father is also trying to repair this relationship that he has with his daughter. For most of the book, she only believes that she's just seeing how their relationships end. All she can focus on is that their relationships end, that love doesn't last. So these are some notes that I made while reading the book. So I love Fifi and Martin. Fifi is a whirlwind. Martin is such a supportive best friend, and that reminds me of the friends that I have. One of the quotes that strikes with me is, if everyone thought about the odds, there'd be no rock stars in the first place. And Evie says that to X. And that quote, her comment, relates exactly to taking a chance on love. If no one risked being in love, there will be no stories and lessons. So I wanted to figure out why this book was banned. And it wasn't until like much later in the book, but two of her friends of the same sex start to like and date each other. And there's mention in reference to another set of classmates or people that are same sex and like each other. But the same sex content or mentions in this book isn't a lot. It isn't explicit. And this book, I feel like, and I looked, it's for high school age children. And I feel like that's appropriate. It's my opinion, of course. But there was so much more to learn from this book. It's not like they're promoting being gay or promoting having one type of like or love over another. The focus of the book was not on same-sex love or like. It dealt with loss. There was just so much more to learn from this, and the fact that it's on this banned book list, I don't get. Drama. So we watch and read Callie, who is in like with one of her friends who doesn't return her affection. We watch as Callie takes lead on her set design production, and what she deals with there seems to help her gain confidence. It's so important, especially for a time period like middle school. I could have gained a lot from reading this if it was around while I was in middle school. So from the cover, right, I totally thought this was going to be like a love triangle between Callie and the two boys on the front, and it does not turn out that way. One of the boys, and these boys are actually brothers, they're twins. One of the boys is gay. He hasn't told many people. Callie is actually only like the second person he's told. And I think she's a little shocked by it, but there's no, rudeness or animosity or anything, any ill will. She accepts it and realizes, here's another boy that I like, kind of had a crush on, and He won't return my affections either. So she moves on. But then she starts to like his brother. Actually go to the school dance together. He ends up disappointing her. I know why the book is on the list. There's mentions of boys liking each other. There's even a panel where there's a boy kissing another one. Everyone accepts them for who they are. I don't get how this book could be threatening. On the other side of the coin, they could say the same thing. You know, the parents and whoever who doesn't want this in the school library. But at the same time, no one's shoving these books down your children's throat. If you don't want them to read it, don't let them read it, which you can totally do. But there's other parents and people who don't mind the book being in the library. Alrighty, next one. Okay, this one. So I've picked up Fly on the Wall by E. Lockhart. The focus, I don't know. So this one, I can definitely understand why it's on a banned book list, but only if this book was being given to children not mature enough to read it, like age wise. This book is definitely, in my opinion, only meant for high schoolers, okay? Like no one younger than 15, maybe 16. Because there is a lot of discussion about boys and their physiques and their anatomy. There's talk about breasts as biscuits and penises as jerkins. Like, I've never even heard of that word before. There's descriptions of, you know, the different looks and statures of the male penis. There's bullying in this book. There's a lot of homophobia in it. You know, like jokes and stupid, like a lot. Here's the description of it. Enter Gretchen Kaufman Yee, collector of plastic Chinese food, art student, Spider-Man fanatic. Gretchen's in search of a big life, a superhero life. Enter the Art Rats, a group of guys at her New York City art school. They're loud, sweet, annoying, confusing. She can barely look at them. Gretchen wishes she could be a fly on the wall of the boys' locker room, just to see what these guys are like when they think no one's watching. And then she is. And nothing is how she thought it would be. This was very interesting. It took me a while to get into. Gretchen has a hard time, like, letting things go. She has a hard time coming to terms with some things. There's like a helplessness that she exhibits, and I just wanted to kind of like shake her, because several times in the book, because I kept trying to figure out what is the lesson that Gretchen has to learn, especially when she becomes the fly. Okay, she turns into a bug. All right, I'm like, if she's turning into a bug, there's a lesson that she needs to learn. She learns from this is a couple of things. That things aren't always what they seem. People are not always what they seem. You can't judge a book by its cover. There's several times where she kind of makes assumptions about others. To her best friend, her dad, her mother's friend, and the art rats. Oh, yeah, fly on the wall. I can see why, again, it's on this list, but only if you're not old enough to read it. And last but not least, certainly not least if we're talking about these lists by these different school districts, but this last book is called Wishtree by Catherine Applegate. Out of all of the books that I read for this review, I don't think I fully understand or get why this particular book is on any of these lists to be even reviewed. I don't get it. Might kind of be why, but it's just not enough. There's a part where Red mentions that you can refer to Red as he, she, or they, because Red has both female and male plants. Wishtree is about a red oak tree, and the tree's name is Red. Red is 216 years old. And Red has lived in this neighborhood for centuries that has welcomed people from many different backgrounds, cultures, beliefs. And this book is from the perspective of Red, which I think is, I don't think I've ever read anything like it that I can recall. It isn't until a young Muslim girl and her family moves into the neighborhood that Red really wants to help her. She has one wish that she leaves on Red's branch. The story implicates that she and her family have had a hard time for who they are, for what they practice, for what they believe in, right? At some point in the book, there's also a threat carved into a tree with the word leave on it that's for her and her family. And Red really wants to see her smile and for her to stay. And he and his other friends of the neighborhood, the opossums and the birds and the raccoons and the squirrels and skunks, are gonna try to help him do that. I love that this book is written from the perspective that it is. It's honest and innocent. Love the author's note at the end because I feel like it summarizes all of these books in terms of the different perspectives and stories that they have to tell. The dedication of this book that the author made was for, quote, for newcomers and for welcomers. She proceeds to say she knows one thing with absolute certainty. You are a welcomer. How does she know this? She knows because the reader loves books. Quote, you have to love books to do what you do. It's part of the job description. Is there anything more welcoming than a place where all stories are honored and all visitors are invited through the door? You are the safekeepers of those stories. She proceeds to say, these days it seems welcomers are not so welcome. I feel like for the appropriate age ranges, all of these books have something really great to share. I don't feel like any of these books focused on the homosexuality mentions in them or characters. None of them focused on that, or in the case of the Wishtree, I don't feel like that particular book focused on the hate that Samar and her family experienced. Those are my thoughts. Sorry if I rambled a bit. I will try to edit so all of it makes sense. But I also left written reviews on each one of these, some more detailed than others, on my Goodreads page. The link for those will be in the description below. Thank you all for visiting for another video by your girl Mo. And it's late. It's late. So until next time, please remain unapologetically you.